My name is Sophia Anderson, and I'm 28 years old. I started my tech company in a tiny dorm room while everyone around me told me to be realistic. Today, I'm graduating, and my whole family is watching. During the ceremony, my father sent me a text that broke my heart. But what happened after that changed everything. 4 years of sleepless nights, rejection, and sacrifice led to this moment. My phone buzzed twice just minutes apart. The first message crushed me. The second one made history. If you're watching this right now, drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. Hit that like button and subscribe to join me on this journey of turning rejection into the sweetest revenge success story you've ever heard. Growing up as the only daughter with 2 older brothers in the Anderson household meant I was often overlooked. My father, Harold Anderson, built his construction supply company from the ground up back in the 1980s. He was proud of his business skills and stuck to traditional values. In our family, tradition meant one thing: business was for men, and women were meant to support them. From my earliest memories, I watched my father teach my brothers, James and Thomas, everything about the business. He brought them to the office on weekends and showed them how to manage inventory, understand profit margins, and lead a team. When I asked if I could come along at 8 years old, he laughed and patted my head. "This is boring stuff, princess," he said. "Why not help your mother with dinner instead?" My mom, Elizabeth, was the perfect corporate wife. She hosted business dinners, kept our home spotless, and never disagreed with my father in public. In private, she would sometimes whisper encouragement to me, but always followed with, "Just don't let your father hear about it." She loved me. I know that. But she accepted her role in life, and expected me to do the same. Even without encouragement, I had a natural talent for math and computer science. In 3rd grade, I won the state mathematics competition, beating students 2 grades above me. My father came to the ceremony but later said it was cute how I liked playing with numbers. When my teacher called home to talk about putting me in advanced classes and getting a mentor, my father thanked her politely, then never brought it up again. By high school, I had taught myself how to code using online tutorials. I built a scheduling app that my school ended up using to organize extracurricular activities. The local newspaper wrote a short story about it. My father saw the article and said, "Computers are just a phase. Real business happens face to face." For their 16th birthdays, my brothers got new cars. I got a laptop that my father called practical for schoolwork. What he didn't know was that I'd use that laptop to build what would eventually become my company, Secure Connect, specializing in encrypted communication software for businesses. When it was time to apply for college, I applied to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology without telling my parents. My guidance counselor helped me through the process because she saw what my parents didn't. When I got accepted, my mom was happy for me, but nervous about how my dad would react. At dinner, I told them about MIT. My father scoffed. "What are you going to do at MIT? Waste 4 years when you could be getting real-life experience? Technology is mostly smoke and mirrors. Look at all these tech businesses failing." "It's the top engineering school in the country," I said quietly. "Engineering is not for girls, Sophia. You'll struggle, get discouraged, and drop out." "Then what?" "I won't drop out," I promised. After weeks of arguments, he agreed to pay for my first year, but with conditions. I had to keep a 4.0 GPA, work part-time to pay for my personal expenses, and call home every week to update him. "1 year," he said. "Then we'll see if this is just a waste of my money." The night before I left, my mom came into my room and sat on the edge of my bed. "Your father means well," she said. "He just wants to protect you from disappointment." "He doesn't believe in me," I said as I folded the last of my clothes. "He doesn't understand you," she replied. "Maybe someday you can show him." I zipped my suitcase shut. "I will show him. I promise." The next morning, as I boarded the plane to Boston, his final words echoed in my mind. "When this tech fantasy fails, there will always be a receptionist job waiting at Anderson Building Supply. I looked out the airplane window as my hometown disappeared beneath the clouds. I made a silent vow. I would never answer phones at my father's company. I would build something of my own. Something so successful, even Harold Anderson couldn't deny it. I just didn't know then how much that vow would change my life. MIT was everything I hoped it would be, and more challenging than I imagined. During orientation week, I met brilliant minds from all over the world. For the first time in my life, no one questioned if I belonged in tech just because I was a girl. The only thing that mattered was whether I could keep up. The work was intense. I took a full load of computer science and business classes while working 20 hours a week at the campus bookstore. I had to keep my promise to my dad. My roommate, Natalie Kim, hardly ever saw me awake. I'd get back from work at 9 p.m., study until 2 a.m., sleep for 4 hours, then start again. "You're going to burn out," Natalie warned one night, finding me asleep at my desk. "I can't slow down," I mumbled while splashing water on my face. "My dad's only paying for 1 year. After that, I need scholarships. Or I'm out." By midterms, I was completely exhausted, but my grades were excellent. I got the highest score in my Intro to Algorithms class. That got the attention of Professor Alan Blackwell, who later became my most important mentor. "Anderson," he called after class one day, "that encryption solution you proposed for the lab, have you thought about how it could be used in business?" I hadn't. I was too busy just trying to survive. But Professor Blackwell saw something in my work that I didn't. "The financial sector would pay big for that level of security," he said. "Come to my office hours. Let's talk." Those meetings changed my life. He helped me improve my encryption algorithm and introduced me to graduate students working on similar projects. For the first time, I started thinking about more than just grades. I started thinking like a builder. By second semester, I had a small team. Zach Torres, a genius coder with a background in quantum computing. Diana Chen, the best UX designer I'd ever met. And Marcus Washington, who knew business like I knew code. We met in my dorm room every Sunday, building what would become Secure Connect. Our idea was simple but powerful: create encrypted communication software for businesses that was both ultra-secure and easy to use. "Most security systems are hard to use," I told the team. "We can build something that's secure and user-friendly." My dad still called every Sunday night. Our talks were always the same. "How are your grades?" he'd ask. "All A's so far," I'd say. "Still working at the bookstore?" "Yes. More hours over the holidays." "Good. So, any thoughts on what you'll do when the year ends?" I never mentioned the startup. I knew exactly what he'd say, that it was just another fantasy. "I might win some money tomorrow," I said, "for a business idea." "That's wonderful, honey," she said. "What kind of business?" I explained our software the best I could. "Your father always says business is about solving problems," she told me. "It sounds like you're solving an important one." "Do you think he'd be proud?" I asked. I hated how small my voice sounded. There was a pause. "I think he'd be surprised," she said. "But someday he'll be proud." "I already am." The next day, we won first place and $50,000. The university posted a photo of us holding a giant check. I sent the link to my parents. Hours later, my dad replied, "Playing entrepreneur on the university's dime. I see. Focus on your grades." That summer, I didn't go home. I stayed in Cambridge and worked on Secure Connect. The prize money let us rent a tiny office off campus and pay ourselves small stipends. I called my dad to say I wouldn't need his money for sophomore year. "So you're dropping out," he said, sounding a little satisfied. "No," I said. "I got an academic scholarship. I'll stay in school and work on the business." There was a long silence. Businesses need customers, Sophia. They need money. Who's buying your computer program? I had no answer yet. That's what I thought, he said. Well, good luck with your scholarship. At least you're not wasting my money anymore. During sophomore year, I dropped to part-time classes and focused most of my energy on Secure Connect. We worked 18-hour days. We improved the product and pitched to potential clients. Rejection after rejection. No one trusts college students with security, Marcus said after our 15th failed pitch. Then we stopped looking like students, I said. We rebranded, made our materials look professional, and practiced our pitch until we could give it in our sleep. Finally, we got a yes from a small financial advisory firm. They were willing to give us a chance. When we got our first payment, $10,000, I took the team out for pizza. I thought about calling my dad, but didn't. I wanted proof. Real proof. That first client led to 5 more. And those 5 led to a dozen more. By the end of sophomore year, we were making enough to hire 2 developers and move into a proper office. I wasn't just a student anymore. I was a CEO. But success brought pressure. We had more clients, more expectations, and we were still young and learning. Then came our first big crisis. One of our clients had a security breach. It wasn't our fault. They'd installed the software wrong, but they blamed us. They even threatened to sue. We can't survive a lawsuit, Marcus said. We only have 3 months of money left. I hadn't slept in 2 days, trying to help the client recover and protect our reputation. We need a lawyer, I said. And we need money to pay that lawyer, Marcus added. That meant investors. Until then, we'd funded everything with prize money and our own revenue. A legal fight would break us. The next 2 weeks were a blur. I built a pitch deck and visited every venture capital firm in Boston. Most of the answers were the same. Your tech looks good, but your team's too young. Come back with a more experienced CEO. Have you thought about adding a male co-founder? It might help with credibility. One day, after a long rejection, I sat on a bench and called my mom. I never called when I felt this low. Maybe Dad was right, I said quietly. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. He's been wrong about a lot of things, she said. Don't prove him right by giving up. The next day, I had a meeting with Catherine Bailey of Artemis Ventures, one of the few female-run VC firms in Boston. I was tired, discouraged, and expecting another no. But Catherine listened carefully. She asked smart technical questions. Then she leaned forward. You remind me of myself 20 years ago, she said. Brilliant, determined, and underestimated. I'm going to invest $500,000 for 10% of your company. And I'm going to connect you with the best tech lawyer I know. I almost cried from relief. But she wasn't done. You have to promise me something, she said. When you succeed, and you will succeed, you'll remember what it felt like to be dismissed. And you'll help the next young woman who comes to you with a big idea. I promise, I said, and I meant every word. With her investment, we survived. We settled the legal issue for far less than the client first demanded. Experience taught us to be more careful with client onboarding and to document everything meticulously. It also taught me that having the right investor could be transformative. Catherine became more than a financial backer. She became a mentor and advocate. She introduced us to potential clients, helped us refine our business model, and coached me on leadership skills. By the end of junior year, Secure Connect had 15 employees working from a converted warehouse space in Kendall Square. We were generating consistent revenue, though we were still far from profitable after covering salaries, rent, and development costs. Each new hire brought both excitement and anxiety. These people were trusting their livelihoods to my vision. What if I failed them? What if my father was right about my capabilities? The pressure manifested physically. I developed insomnia and stress-induced migraines. I lost 15 pounds without trying. My academic advisor called me into her office concerned about my declining grades. You need to make a choice, she said gently. Your company or your degree. You cannot keep doing both at this pace. I chose the company but negotiated to remain enrolled part-time. Graduation would take longer, but I refused to be a dropout. That would be giving my father the satisfaction of being right. Our breakthrough came in the fall of my senior year. Our team developed a significant innovation in our encryption algorithm that made it both more secure and more efficient. When we announced the update, our client list suddenly expanded from regional firms to national enterprises. Monthly revenue tripled in 60 days. We hired rapidly to keep up with demand, moving to a larger office and bringing on experienced professionals who commanded higher salaries than we could really afford. It was a calculated risk. We needed their expertise to scale properly. One of those hires was Jennifer Lawrence, a seasoned chief financial officer who had guided two previous startups to acquisition. At 52, she was 24 years older than me and brought a steadying presence to our young company. You have something special here, she told me during her first week. But you are growing too fast without proper financial controls. Let me help you build a sustainable business, not just an impressive technology. Under Jennifer's guidance, we restructured our pricing model, improved our cash flow management, and began serious discussions about long-term growth strategy. For the first time, I had a leadership team that did not consist of my college friends. When we landed our first Fortune 500 client, a major financial services corporation, I finally called my father with news I thought would impress him. Dad's secure. Connect just signed a 7-figure contract with Allied Financial, I said, unable to keep the pride from my voice. There was a pause. That is a significant client, he acknowledged. But tech companies come and go, Sophia. How sustainable is this business of yours? We have 40 employees now. Consistent growth, major clients, and are you profitable? We were not yet. We